A hero is an ordinary individual who finds the strength to persevere and endure in spite of overwhelming obstacles. Christopher Reeves, 1998. This quote gives a true meaning of what it takes to be a hero, and one of those individuals is John Lee Leventhal. John was the first enlisted member of the United States Air Force to ever receive the Congressional Medal of Honor, and this is his story. John Leventhal was born on November 1st, 1945, just a mere 60 days after the formal surrender of Japan to the Allied powers. Little did anyone know at the time of his birth that he would become a hero just over 23 years later. John enlisted in the United States Air Force in June of 1966 as a civil engineer, and later would retrain to become an aircraft loadmaster in 1967. It was as a loadmaster where he would become a hero to so many. In July of 1968, he was sent to be a loadmaster in AC-47 Spooky gunship in Vietnam. As a bit of a background, the AC-47 is an early gunship based on a World War II era C-47 transport. It housed three 7.62 millimeter miniguns that could fire a combined rate of 6,000 rounds per minute. On a typical sortie or flight, an AC-47 would carry 21,000 rounds of ammunition and 5 dozen 27-pound airborne flares that would burn at 4,000 degrees Fahrenheit and would house a crew of 8. On the night of February 24th, 1969, during the Tet 1969 offensive, the crew of Spooky 7-1, flown by Major Kenneth Carpenter, found themselves on a 4.5-hour sortie providing close air support above the Army base near Long Binh. This was John's 181st mission over the skies of Vietnam. Around 11 p.m., they received word of a heavy mortar attack not far from their location. On the first attack, Spooky 7-1 was able to take out 2 of the mortar positions, and the third position was located for the following attack. In preparation for the attack, John removed a flare from the rack for Airman First Class Ellis Owen to toss from the open cargo door. It was then that Spooky 7-1 flew directly into the path of an enemy mortar that ripped a 2 to 3 foot hole in the right wing. More than 3,500 pieces of shrapnel ripped through the AC-47, wounding all 4 men in the cargo hold of the aircraft. John had been struck on his right side by 40 of those pieces. All the men in the cargo hold had been thrown to the floor by the force of the blast. As the pilot was struggling to regain control, John noticed that one of the gunners was dangerously close to the open cargo door. He knew that his fellow airman could plummet to his death with one wrong move of the aircraft. Wounded, John was able to pull the gunner to safety. As he did this, he noticed that the fuse of the flare that he just had was lit. Knowing the danger that this presented, he threw his body on top of the flare and dragged it to the open cargo door. With no time left, he was able to get the flare out the door just as it had exploded. After being hospitalized due to his injuries, John returned to combat in May of 1969, where he would go on to fly another 20 combat sorties before being transferred to Norton Air Force Base in California in August of 1969. There, he would serve as a C-141 loadmaster until he was autumnally discharged in April of 1970. During an Armed Forces Day ceremony later that same year, he was one of 12 service members to receive a Congressional Medal of Honor. After his service in the military, he went on to serve in the Veterans Administration for 22 years, becoming the assistant to the Commissioner of the Connecticut Department of Veterans Affairs. Unfortunately, heroes don't live forever, and on November 8th, 2000, John lost his year-and-a-half long battle with cancer. John was a humble hero. He never used his Medal of Honor to benefit himself, only to benefit others. In his article, Hero Always Fought for the Good Fight, by Tom Cotton, described John by saying, he never swaggered or boasted or caged drinks at the Legion. He never played in a celebrity golf tournament that I know of. Instead, he used his status and considerable intelligence to help other veterans. John Levitel is a true hero. His selfless actions to save every member of Spooky 7-1 that night taught every member of the United States Air Force and is an example for that everyone tries to follow.